foreboding last night. The Oriole bats, well, they got a hold of some, but they didn't fall. Yankee pitching, able to get big outs when the Orioles had a chance to score. And it was just out of reach when it came to the Yankee bats. So the Orioles have to regroup. A one-run loss last night. Now, Game 2. Orioles-Yankees next. It's the Orioles on Masson, and New York is the site. A beautiful summer day here and an even nicer evening as the Orioles and Yankees meet up. Yankee Stadium, the site, and this is Game 2. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne, and welcome. For the Orioles, a tough loss last night. Another one-run ball game. They lost at 3-2. That is the 6th consecutive one-run loss that the Orioles have suffered. Those are the ball games that they were winning last year. As a result of the loss last night, Orioles find themselves in third place, 5 games behind the Yankees starting the day. So we go to Kevin Gausman. Gausman back, joins the club today. Here are the numbers. As a major league starter, there have been very few. An 0-run record, 5.40 ERA. You see the 259 average by opponents. Only 3 games, though, as a starter. He has pitched in relief, 1-0, 4.5. There are the numbers against him in relief. And Steve Pearce is on the DL. It is an oblique problem that has put him there. So we'll see whether or not Gausman can secure that number 5 start, Mike.
Yeah, well, you know, Kevin Gausman's had kind of an up and down year, and I'm not saying that at the major league level as far as his stats go. I'm talking about his travels through the minor leagues. It's been really hard for him to really settle in and kind of establish himself. Last year, you know, you thought there was a great opportunity for Kevin Gausman. This is a look here at the graph, how he got here this season. He started the season in the O's bullpen. He was actually competing for that 5th starter spot in spring training. Went to the bullpen, placed on the DL with shoulder tendonitis, sent back down to the minor leagues on June 21st. Ended up making 6 starts in the minor leagues between Single-A, Double-A, and Triple-A. Called back up for the minors as a starter on July 2nd, sent back down to the minors, and today called up. And hopefully, you know, for Kevin Gausman, you know, this will be the chance for him to really stick in the major leagues because the Orioles need him to step up. Last year, he got called up on June 7th. He reeled off 3 straight starts, and it picked everybody in the rotation up. And we know the history of last season when they ended up walking away with the East. Well, Gausman has an opportunity to do that again this year. He has great stuff. The numbers don't show it right now. But you know what? I think it's because of so many times he's been up and down. 22 times in his career. He hasn't been able to really settle in and let his arm work freely. You know, the time in the bullpen, Kevin Gausman comes out of the pen, he's throwing 98, 99 miles an hour. And when he starts, he's got to be able to work that fastball and locate it. So tonight is going to be an opportunity for us to see. Can he work his fastball 92 to 94, maybe 95 miles an hour, hit his spots, and then still have enough in his back pocket to blow guys away, maybe up in the zone with that 98, 99 mile an hour fastball. So fastball location really the key for Gausman. Talked to Caleb Joseph this morning, and he said he's got a great split finger, but it's got to stay on the plate. And then it'll get that downward action and get a lot more swing and misses.
Now, will it bother him? The Buster only reported today that he is available from the Orioles as a trade possibility, and the Dan Duquette before the game did not take him off the table. Will that affect his start? Well, we'll find out. When we come back, it's Game 2 as the Orioles and Yankees go at it on a summer night in New York. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Have you tried great tasting 5-Hour Energy lately? Good day to be on the water and a good night to be at the ballpark. There at Yankee Stadium, take a look at our BGE home game time temperature, 82 degrees. Look at that humidity. It is way down. BGE Home is Baltimore's home heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical home team. Why would you call anyone else? Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Orioles, brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Machado, Snyder, Jones, and Wieters, Davis, Scope, and Hardy, Flaherty, and Joseph. Note, Flaherty's going to start at first base. Chris Davis against Nova. The Yankee starter has done really well.
And let's take a look at Ivan Nova's pitch arsenal this season now. Coming off Tommy John surgery, this will only be his 5th start of the year. The fastball 66% of the time. 90 to 95 with the heater. Has a curveball for a breaking ball, primarily his out pitch, but he will flip it over for strikes early in the count. And the change just 6% of the time. So fastball, curveball for Nova. 4 starts this season, 3.42 earned run average. 12 punch-outs, 7 walks. Has given up the 25 hits in the 23 2/3 innings he has worked this season. Only sitting 275. Lefties up to 333. And righties down to 209.
Nova coming off Tommy John surgery. That's why he has been limited to just the 4 game starts. So the Yankees really counting on him for the second half. Manny Machado in a discussion right there with Brian McCann, the catcher, as home plate umpire, and crew chief Tim Welke gets set behind the plate. Beautiful evening. Very little breeze here at the ballpark to start the ball game, and lots of blue sky, some high wispy clouds. Nova's ready. Machado's in, and we are underway. Pitch will be taken for a strike from Nova. Nova's got a 5-3 lifetime mark against the Orioles coming into this ball game with an ERA of 5.03 against Oriole hitters. Bunting for the base hit. That will be fouled off. Had Headley back at third base, but could not get it down fair. Nova's going to play a big part in this Yankee second half. I mean, if he comes around and he's ready to go and can pitch the way he did a couple of years ago.
Well, they're really counting on him for sure, and especially in the spot they're in right now, leading the American League East, much like the Orioles, hoping Kevin Gausman can be the man to take them to the promised land.
That'll be a souvenir into the seats down the left field line. Machado's not had a lot of luck against the 28-year-old right-hander Nova. Just had 1 hit in 14 at bats against the Yankee starter. Elsewhere in the Oriole lineup, there's some pretty good career numbers against Nova. There's the 0-2 delivery on the way, and a breaking ball that will miss down low. Nova's one of the few taller pitchers who we see actually use kind of an old-fashioned windup. He's got the sideways motion when he starts facing third base, kind of in the middle, not kind of, he's in the middle of the rubber. He does a little rock with it, so he's got a lot of moving parts when he delivers a pitch to the plate. 1-2 delivery, and that'll get away to the backstop.
You see a lot of pitchers nowadays really take away many of those moving parts to keep their windup efficient, and they can harness all of their pitches and make their release point more consistent. Nova, 28 years old, so comfortable with his windup, but as his career progresses, he might have to make some adjustments.
Rip foul again. A couple he's hit hard, but pulled them into the seats down there. For Nova here in his home ballpark, he has won 21 and lost 12 playing here at Yankee Stadium. This has been a comfortable yard for Nova over his career with New York. 2-2 delivery to Manny Machado. He'll take the pitch outside, and as Manny so often does, gets a few pitches to look at and forces Nova to go 3-2.
Yeah, well, Manny Machado's had put together some of the best at bats you're going to see. He draws walks, saw him try to lay down that bunt. Got the great power at the top of the lineup as well.
And the 3-2 delivery on the way, and there's the walk. So the Orioles will get a leadoff walk in the ball game. Same way the Orioles started the game last night.
Take a look at the Yankees defense behind Nova. Gardner, Ellsbury, and Beltran getting started in right field. Gregorius and Drew up the middle. Headley and Teixeira on the corners, and the veteran backstop McCann behind the plate.
Travis Snyder has moved up into the number 2 spot for the ball game tonight. Had just the 0-for-1 last night. He is 3-for-4 with a home run lifetime off Nova. the lineup juggling continues for the Orioles. Headley is in at third. Pitch will be taken for a ball. But Showalter is trying to find some numbers for an Oriole team that continues to have trouble putting runs up on the board. They've had a couple of ball games, one at Detroit where they exploded for 14 hits in the game. They got 7 last night, but only a couple of runs. And the runs are simply down this month so far for the Orioles. Down the line in left field, that too is going to be headed foul. That section of the ballpark already has, I think, 5 foul balls already. We're only on the second batter.
Yeah, busy. Better pay attention.
1 ball, 1 strike count on Snyder getting the start in left field. Another reason he gets to start, he's had good numbers in this ballpark. 327 and 4 home runs in his career at Yankee Stadium. 1-1. Machado on at first base, fakes the go. Ball put up in the air to center, hit hard. Ellsbury back. Dead center, he's got it. Runner tags. Here's the throw, and going back to first, Manny Machado. Remember last night, Buck Showalter again was not happy about it. It's happened to the Orioles, as far as the manager's concerned, too much of late. But after a leadoff walk, Manny Machado got picked off at first base by Nathan Eovaldi. Then later in the ball game, Matt Wieters got caught on too big a turn at second base in what could have been a bigger inning for the Orioles. Buck Showalter now, he doesn't very often just come out and say things. It's usually kept inside with the players, but he's made it very clear to everybody that's got to stop. These outs in the base paths are too many.
Well, little things start to show up. I mean, this team trying to fight for taking over the lead in the American League East, and mistakes can cost you, especially when you're going against the top team in the game right now.
Ball gets away, not far enough to move up.
And he doesn't want to take aggressiveness away from his team. He loves the fact that he has aggressive players. He trusts their athletic ability, and he trusts their decision making. But there are some mistakes you can prevent. Manny Machado has all of a sudden become a base stealer. It's great for him, but when you tip it and you get a little antsy, you could potentially get picked off. Well, they took advantage of that last night. And with Wieters, he was on the run and didn't pay attention to the right fielder who bobbled the ball. They ended up throwing behind him, getting him in a rundown, and eventually making that final out.
Runner goes inside, throw by McCann, a one-hopper, and he's in with a stolen base. So Manny Machado, aggressive and successfully so. He'll pick up the stolen base for the Orioles and get a runner in scoring position. He is running, as Mike said, this year.
Yeah, nice job by Manny Machado. McCann has been outstanding at throwing out runners this year, up around 40%. Manny Machado off and running, and this is just a straight steal early in the count. Puts the head down, and off he goes. See McCann with the quick release. Machado a better jump.
So the Orioles get a runner in scoring position. Machado 14 out of 18 stealing bases. And now Adam Jones, with his 5-game hit streak, gets a chance to put the Orioles on the board. Nova with a 1-0. Hit to second base. A double play. Right to Drew, right to the bat. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. And these are the kind of things happening to the Orioles of late. Not much you can do about that one. We'll take a look at Kevin Gausman on the mound coming up. lineup for the Yankees tonight. It'll be Ellsbury, Gardner, and Rodriguez. Teixeira, McCann, Beltran's in. Headley, Gregorius, and Drew. Career against the O's for A-Rod. 64 home runs.
And here's a look at Kevin Gausman's pitch arsenal this season. 72% fastballs, and he has a tremendous fastball. Loose arm. He can rush it up there in the high 90s. Love to see him work, though, in the low to mid 90s and save that extra in his back pocket when he needs it. Breaking ball, still working on that, but a nasty split finger to go along with it. 1-1 record with a 5 earned run average this season. Opponent's hitting 250. The righties just 167. To see the lefties way up to 340 off Gausman.
And Jacoby Ellsbury will be leading it off. Ellsbury with a 1 for 10. Lifetime off Gausman. Ellsbury and Gardner, top of the order. Real threats, which is one of the reasons the Yankees have scored in the first inning. 5 of their last 10. They've scored 79 first inning runs, the most of any team in the majors. In fact, it's the most runs by any club in any inning this year.
Yeah, they are a potent 1-2 punch. They'll work a count. They have the ability to lay bunts down, hit for power on occasion.
Fouls that one back, and Gausman with an 0-2 count. Big start for Kevin. Number 5 spot is what the Orioles are looking to fill for the rest of the season. They would like Gausman to take that right now, run with it for the rest of the year. 0-2 pitch on the way, ground ball to first, fair ball. That's going to go off the stands. Played in the corner by Davis, and it will be a leadoff double, Ellsbury.
Now let's take a look at the Orioles defense. Snyder, Jones, and Davis in the outfield. Hardy and Scope will be the double play combination. Manny Machado over at third. Ryan Flaherty making his first start at first base this season. Caleb Joseph behind the plate.
So the leadoff man is on and in scoring position. And that gives Gardner the opportunity to pick up an RBI. The Yankees were only 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position in the ball game last night, even though they picked up the 3 runs and 11 hits and won the ball game. So Ellsbury on at second. He'll be held close by Hardy and Gardner at the plate. Gardner trying to punch that one into left field, fouls it back. Take a look at the consecutive game streaks underway right now, with Gardner adding another at 22. Most consecutive games reaching base. Yelich is up to 20. And Bryce Harper at 19. Those are the leaders right now in Major League Baseball. And they are guys who produce a lot of runs. 0-1 count. Gardner up the middle. That's going to get a run in. Jones. Here comes the runner. Ellsbury to the plate. Throw cut off. Throw to first. Did not get him. Single by Gardner and an RBI and a 1-0 Yankee lead. They cut it off, trying to get Gardner on the big turn at first, but he got back.
Well, tough 1-2 punch at the top of this Yankees lineup. Ellsbury gets things going with the hanging split finger, double down the right field line, and Gardner is taking a fastball right back through the box, right up the middle. Ellsbury the good speed, but Adam Jones gets to it pretty well. But Manny Machado, he senses that he can backpick Gardner. Pretty good play right there. Don't think they would have gotten Ellsbury at the plate.
So this is what the Yankees have done all season long, picking up these kind of runs early. And here's Alex Rodriguez, runner at first base. Rodriguez 0 for 2 in the ball game last night, 1 for 2 off Gausman, and he'll go inside out on that one and foul it away. Kevin Gausman, base stealers are 3 for 4 against him this year. That includes 3 starts and 11 total appearances. And you've got guys who can run in Ellsbury and Gardner at the top of the order. Gardner's 15 out of 18 in stealing bases. So you do have to keep an eye on him, and that sometimes makes things a little better for Rodriguez at the plate. And mindful of that.
Well, so many hitters very happy if there's a base stealer on the bases when they're up. You will see more fastballs. Gets into a pitcher's head. They try to be too quick, and at times they will make mistakes with the heater, even their off-speed pitches. So they're going to vary their times, try to keep Gardner close, continue to throw quality strikes.
Runner not going. Chan again. Popped him up. First base Flaherty. Third baseman Flaherty almost tripped. That's a very tough place right there. And Flaherty's making his first start of the year and only his 11th career start at first base. So of course he gets to make a play in the first inning.
Yeah, definitely. Always tricky when you're dealing with the mound. Good concentration right there. Nice job vacating first base and taking over, calling that ball. Surprised Gardner didn't test Flaherty early on with Jacoby Ellsbury at second base. He will probably be bunted on in this ball game.
One down, shift put on, and the pitch will be taken for a strike by Mark Teixeira. Teixeira, the switch hitter, having a great season. He is 4th in home runs, 3rd in RBIs, 4th in walks in the American League, leading this ball club. 23 home runs, 63 RBIs, tops on the Yankees in both. And he was going for a couple right there.
Well, that is a great split finger. That's the split finger he wanted to finish Ellsbury off, but it stayed up in the zone. Better bury it down at the bottom. Mark Teixeira very susceptible to that split finger. Gausman throws it hard enough. If he continues to throw them like that, a lot of swing throughs.
Then his best side offensively, Teixeira, hitting left-handed, 266. Right-handed, 223, and 17 of his 23 home runs have come batting left-handed. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Outfield actually shading to left a little bit. Gausman a look in the 1-2 delivery. Teixeira gets jammed. Oof, fouls that one off.
That's a good fastball there. Speaking of home runs, most career home runs by a Maryland native. Well, great group of company Mark Teixeira is in. Babe Ruth, Jimmy Fox, Cal Ripken Jr., Al Kaline, all Hall of Famers. And there's Teixeira with his 386 home runs. Tough to be on top of that list, but incredible just to be mentioned with those names.
Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and he drills it. It is deep, and it is gone. Goodbye home run. A Yankee Stadium home run for a left-handed hitter. 314 down the line, and that's right where he put it.
Well, Teixeira is a very dangerous hitter. So are all the Yankees left-handers. Kevin Gausman has got to prove that he can throw a fastball in for strikes. Not just in to brush him off the plate, but show that he can throw a quality strike on the inside corner. Teixeira, a check swing on a good fastball in, but this, the hanging split finger. You want hanging. This is up at eye level, gets a good look, and he knows what to do with mistakes.
So Teixeira gives the Yankees a 3-0 lead. Pitches a strike on the outside corner to McCann. Teixeira gets his 13th home run here at Yankee Stadium this year. The other 11 on the road. 0-1 delivery. That's hit hard, and that'll go into right field. And Kevin Gausman is not fooling a Yankee here in the first inning of this game.
Well, he's not. The fastballs that are getting hit are out over the plate, working that outside corner, but these big lefties, that's what they try to do, get on fastballs away. They are not afraid of pitches inside, especially their veteran hitters. They know what pitchers are trying to do to them. That's why Kevin's got to show that he can throw good strikes inside, and maybe as this game progresses, bust them off the plate a little bit. These veteran hitters know what to do. They're just eyeballing that outer third and looking for fastball.
Yankees here at home at the stadium this year. They are 2nd in runs and 1st in home runs in the American League. And you're seeing why here in this first inning with 3 runs already across, upping that amazing number now to 82 first inning runs scored this year. And that is just unheard of.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and most teams have success when they put the first run on the board. Yankees no different.
Here is Beltran. Runner at first base, 1 down. He will foul that one back. Beltran getting back into action over the weekend. He did not play against the Orioles in the ball game last night. Came off the DL on Sunday. Oblique strain. had kept him out. So as teams like to say when they get people like Beltran back, it's like we made a deal and we got a new player. And the pitch is going to be taken inside for a ball 1-1. Well, Beltran's 68th game.
It's a good try with the four-seam fastball. To be able to throw the four-seamer, that two-seamer leaking back over the plate. Beltran just missing the first fastball.
That one's going to come inside to him. Against the Yankees for Kevin Gausman, he is 3-1. Came in with a 2.28 ERA. He did pitch in relief this year on April 14 at Camden Yards against them. Just 2/3 of an inning, 2 runs, 2 hits. And that one is going to miss down low. He's worked here at Yankee Stadium 1-0. 4 games, 1 start in this ballpark, and he had a 1.86 ERA over 9 2/3 innings. That number obviously has been severely elevated already. 3-1 delivery on the way. Beltran goes the other way and foul.
I'll find a way to finish him off. Going to be able to ride the top of the zone with that good fastball as well. A lot of the fastballs down at the bottom of the zone, belt high. Let's see him ride the top and see if they can catch up to the heater.
3-ball, 2-strike count. McCann at first base. That ball is ripped. That ball is down the line, and it is foul. Almost the exact same spot where Teixeira hit his home run.
Well, that fastball was elevated, and Beltran did get on that. A healthy cut right there. Just down that right field line. Just 314 on the right field line here at Yankee Stadium.
The only right-handed batter in this lineup is Alex Rodriguez. Gausman's really going to be tested. And he walked. So that will move McCann down to second base. Beltran on with a free pass. And that will bring up Chase Headley. Another left-handed bat who comes via the switch hit route. Buck Showalter, unfortunately, already having to think about what they talked about before the game. If I got to go long, who is
right?
Steve Pearce going on the DL today with oblique, and Gausman added to the roster. That one is chopped foul. For Headley, he's hit .270 left-handed, .236 the other way. 5 of his 8 home runs have come from this side of the plate, and you see in July he has been sizzling hot at the plate.
Yeah, Headley's been making some adjustments. He'll look to turn and burn early in a count. When he gets 2 strikes, he's opening up the whole field.
And a swing and a miss on a good pitch dropping off the table. Headley has hit safely, 10 of 11 this month. And this has been a good month for him. Last 2 years, 326 in July, and a combined 233 in all the other months. 0-2 count, 1 down, 2 on. Runners off first and second base. And Headley will get down swinging. So Kevin Gausman gets the strikeout. And there are 2 away here in the first inning.
Oh, pretty good sequence right here. Take a look at the Nissan pitch track. 2 split fingers. Then he rides 97 at the top of the zone. And he can make it look so easy at times. And here, 3-pitch strikeout for Headley.
Now with 2 down, you'll go after Didi Gregorius. McCann at second base, Beltran on at first. 2 away. And that's going to be a foul ball. Again, these left-handers going after these pitchers that are hanging and going after them.
Well, fortunately, Caleb Joseph reading this Yankees lineup, realizing they're jumping on the fastball, so started Headley off with a couple split fingers there. Gregorius out in front of the split finger as well. So it's a hard hit foul ball, strike 1.
Gregorius has had only 7 hits in his last 42 at bats. Gausman, the 0-1 delivery to him, and foul tipped into the middle. That's a great part of this for Gausman, Mike, is it's the first inning.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get out of this, you give up 3 runs. Didn't want to, but You got a whole ball game in front of you.
No, and he's getting to look at everybody in the lineup, so he'll be able to make his adjustments, hopefully, as this game goes through.
0-2 the count. And not willing to go after that one, which will be up high for a ball. Kevin, of course, third player selected. 2012 draft, third player in that draft to reach the big leagues. Came up in a hurry, but as Mike showed you in our pregame, the up didn't last, as it's been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down again for Kevin. Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and that one is foul tipped and held on to. So a couple of strikeouts. The Yankees, however, will put up the runs on 4 hits and jump out to the 3-0 lead. $100 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight. Play baseball. Buck scratch-offs went up to 50,000. Or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Visit mdlottery.com/baseball. So Ivan Nova gets staked to 3 runs. Beautiful view. Looking out from New York. Hudson, the Palisades. Really last night. Last few days, in fact, humidity's been way up, really uncomfortable, that summer heat in the city, and today it just gone.
Yeah, beautiful day.
Shift being put on as Nova takes a look behind him. Matt Wieters hitting in the cleanup spot. Matt had a 1 for 3 in the ball game last night. Why cleanup? Carries big numbers against Nova. Pitch on the way, and that'll be in there for a strike. A whopping .355 average and 4 home runs against Ivan Nova.
Yeah, there's a look right there. .355, 7 RBIs. So open for opportunities with runners in scoring position. Slide Wieters in that 4-hole.
Pitch will be taken inside, a little bit low. Davis and then Jonathan Scope. Orioles come in 46 and 46. 5 games out. The Yankees are 51 and 41 with a 4.5 game lead coming into today's play. The Orioles are in 3rd behind Toronto in 2nd. The Yankees now, with the win they put up in last night's game, that 4.5 game lead is their largest, equals their largest of the season, and a season high 10 games over 500 for Joe Girardi's ball club. 2-1 delivery on the way to Wieters. Wieters goes into the shift. Drew. 1 down. Orioles will be returning home on Monday to begin a 3-game interleague series with the Atlanta Braves. On Tuesday, don't miss the season's next Ollie's Bargain Night. Presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. All upper reserve seats are only $10. Welcome back to the O's and saving you tickets. Go to Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Chris Davis also with good numbers against Nova. 8 for 24, 3 home runs. One down. Davis into the shift. Nobody to play first. How about Nova? Nice play. Oh my. One on Drew to knock it down and make the throw. Two on Nova to get there and handle it.
Yeah. Pretty nice play by this Yankees defense. They've been struggling defensively this year. See Drew making the nice diving play, and Nova, even though seems like a lot of slow twitch muscles, a nice athletic play right there covering first base, and the awareness of his defense behind him, and a good stretch with the out on Davis.
Drew looks as though he may have banged up something on that at second base. So he's trying to loosen up his shoulder or arm a little bit. See if that affects the ball game. Pitch is taken for a strike by Jonathan Schoop. Jonathan had an 0 for 4 in the ball game last night. 286 of the 6 home runs. Limited games played, of course. This is only the 20th game, and he's got 14 RBIs that he's put up on the board in the first 19.
Yeah, since coming off the disabled list back on July 5th, he's been raking. 306, 4 multi-hit games, 3 homers.
1-1 delivery to him out in front, and we'll chop that one foul. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Schoop. The Orioles against the Yankees now have won 5 and lost 6. They've won only 1 of the 5 games played here in New York. 1-2 delivery by Nova, and a great breaking ball. Play is going to have to be made by McCann. He will down to Teixeira, and the side is retired in order. That is the first strikeout for Nova. We go to the bottom half of the second inning. Yankees up 3-0. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. What a night to be up in the blimp. Oh my gosh. Not a good night to be in the GW, either coming in or going out. Look at the traffic. Oh,
could be on those jet skis right there. That'd be a lot of fun.
That would be okay. Yeah, that'd be okay. And we weren't showing you that in slow motion either. Gausman will try and settle it in. 8 Yankees came to the plate in the first inning. Stephen Drew, the only one who did not. Batting in the 9 spot, playing at second base, has an 0 for 8 lifetime against Gausman. You see that batting average number, 181. One of the reasons the Yankees have been looking around for potential second base deals, but Brian Cashman said, "Show me one, please," because I can't find one. 1-0 pitch is there for a strike from Gausman.
And you're not going to find many with the power that Drew possesses. Yeah, that batting average not there for him this year, but he's hitting the long ball Got 12 home runs this year. He's a veteran presence on this infield, and they need that as well.
1-1 delivery on the way, will miss down low. And a 2-ball 1-strike count. Ellsbury and then Gardner will be due up in the inning. Jonathan Scope moves to a better pull position on the count, pitches away. And a 3-ball 1-strike count on Drew. Yankees have won 7 of their last 9. And their pitching staff over those 9 games has an ERA of 2.8. 3-1 pitch on the way, and that'll be fouled back. Plain fact is, the Yankees are playing some pretty good baseball right now.
Well, they really are. I mean, I think they've gotten a lot more out of their veterans than they expected. Alex Rodriguez having an incredible year. Teixeira having a great year. They're hitting some home runs. Some solid pitching. They're back into their bullpen, shortens the game.
They got him. Foul tipped again, held onto by Caleb Joseph. Drew retired. That's 3 strikeouts in a row.
There you go. Riding that high fastball to the top of the zone again. 95 miles an hour there. It's the swing and miss from Drew. A steady diet of fastballs on that outside corner. Got another one, but that one up and out of the zone.
Struck out Headley and Gregorius to end the first inning. Now gets Drew to start the second. Jacoby Ellsbury started the Yankee part of the offense with a double that would come around to score in that first inning. Leading off in the ball game last night, he led off with a double and he scored in the first inning. That was his 1 for 5 in the game last night.
You see Jacoby Ellsbury's power zone, the double he hit, the split finger, the 4th pitch at the bottom of that zone, but good plate coverage.
Off the fist, popped up, second base or right. Davis will come on and make the catch, and Ellsbury is retired. 2 down. Before the Orioles take on the Braves on Tuesday night, social media fans invited to the Birdland Social pregame party on the roof deck. Tickets for the event as low as $30. Game ticket, access to the pregame party, a catered menu, drink coupons, and exclusive T-shirt. Event will also have a Q&A. Jim Palmer and MASTONsports.com's Rock Kabako will be there. For tickets and details, Orioles.com/Birdland Social. 2 away, bases empty. Here's Gardner, base hit and an RBI. His first time up as he brought Ellsbury home. Gardner started the day 9th in average and 4th in runs in the American League. He's got 43 RBIs now. He also finds Yankee Stadium to his liking. 329 batting average, 9th best home average in the American League. Head on the count here, 2-0. He'll put that one in the air to center. Jones. And Adams got it. So after 8 batted in the first, only 3 bat here in the second. Kevin Gausman sets him down in order. Forward to Miller time later in our ball game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Kevin Gausman coming right back, getting that 1-2-3 inning. Beautiful sight. Take a look on high here at Yankee Stadium. And the Orioles will have Hardy, Flaherty, and Joseph due up in the top of the 3rd inning. Von Nova with a walk and a strikeout in the first 2. J.J. Hardy's got a 4-game hit streak coming into the ball game with a 1-for-4 that he had in the game last night. He's also had good numbers against Nova. He's 9 for 23 with a home run against Ivan Nova. Hardy will take the first pitch down low for a ball. During the 4-game streak, the Orioles shortstop has had a hit per game, 4 for 15.
He's taking some great at bats. It's more aggressive. Looks like he's trying to get back into pull mode. Trying to give the Orioles a little extra boost for the power at the bottom of this lineup.
Nova with a 1-1. Hardy will take that one down low, hitting the plate. Orioles 2-2 so far in this 9-game road trip. 2 out of 3 in Detroit. And Scott Kubar, the hitting coach, hoping Oriole numbers offensively will pick up here as this trip moves along. Hit hard. He's got a base hit. So Hardy is on with the Orioles' first hit of the ball game and a leadoff single here in the 3rd inning. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use O's Couch Cam, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. So Hardy is on, Flaherty up. As we said, first start this year at first base for Mr. Super Utility of the Orioles, Ryan Flaherty. This is the 11th major league start he's made at first. And he puts it in the air to right field, back, way back. Hey, goodbye, home run. And Flaherty brings the Orioles to within 1. A 2 RBI homer here in the 3rd inning for Ryan Flaherty, his 4th of the year.
Well, Ryan Flaherty has made some major adjustments this year with his swing. Not as susceptible to the off-speed pitches or early bad ball chases. Back-to-back days he's been out in Yankee Stadium taking early batting practice, working with Scott Coolbaugh. Well, the work has paid off. Big 2-run home run to get the Orioles right back in this. His 4th home run of the season.
4th off Nova this year by opponents. And the long ball in effect.
Well, he's got a quieter head. Look at the bat resting on his shoulder just to calm his body down. He gets the weight back. Great transfer of the weight to the front side, and he gets the bat hit to the ball.
Caleb Joseph will take the pitch. And for Earl Maccabee, our Maryland lottery contestant, that's a $500 homer. Joseph did not play in the ball game last night. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Phenomenal numbers against the Yankees. A couple of home runs against them this year. Pitch will be taken for a ball. Joe Alder said, I just cannot have him sit too many games. Could have started Wieters back-to-back games behind the plate, but I've got to get him in there, especially with the numbers he puts up against the Yankees. So here he is. And that ball down the line the other way. That one will be fouled. He is a .309 career hitter against the Yankees with 3 home runs. This year he's hitting .536. He's got 15 hits in 28 at-bats against the Yankees with 2 home runs.
Yeah, pretty impressive stuff from Caleb Joseph. Of course, stepped in last year and really many people thought the team MVP for what he did behind the plate.
Nova gets him on a foul tip held onto by McCann.
Well, a good 2-seam fastball. Most pitchers possess the 4-seamer and 2-seamer. Good movement, well located here. Look in the bottom of the zone. You see the late life at 93 miles an hour, and Caleb Joseph is right over the top.
So Nova with 1 away goes to the top of the order. Manny Machado, 3-2 ball game. Orioles right back in it. Each team using a home run early in the game. Pitch will be a strike in the outside corner. Machado drew a walk his first time up. Also stole the base. And then got caught in a line drive double play. Down to third hard. That's a fair ball. It'll go right down the line into the left field corner. Gardner going over to get it. Into second base. Stand up double. Manny Machado. 4 batters in the inning. 3 have had hits.
Some nice ABs by this Orioles offense. Don't press the panic button. One thing that this Orioles team has done for the past few years. Great ability to turn the page even after that tough loss. Come back out. They're behind 3 runs, but some great at bats in this inning. Manny Machado getting on the inside fastball just past the diving Headley. Step in a dive, just not enough. Machado whistles double down the line.
And there again is the effect, Mike, of having the defense thinking about the fact you might bunt.
Well, he showed the bunt in his first at bat, so they honored that. And you're all about Machado's newfound speed and how he's cutting it loose. And now be aware of the bunt attempt as well.
Here is Snyder, 1 out. He will take the pitch for a ball. For Travis, big numbers, 310 with runners in scoring position for him this year. Ryan Flaherty, the home run that's brought the Orioles to within 1. Second home run he's ever hit here at Yankee Stadium. Nova's got a 1-0. The look back and delivery. Breaking ball that'll miss the outside corner, 2-0.
Typically early in counts, he'll flip that breaking ball over for just the get me over strike. And then we've seen him already finish off a hitter or two with a breaking ball down in the dirt. Loves to spike it for his put away pitch.
Gregorius right behind the runner. Snyder will take it for a strike in the outside corner. Nova, and the limited chances opponents have had, he's done a good job with runners in scoring position. Opponents hitting only 2 for 22. That's 0-9-1 coming into the ball game. 2-1. Potential tying run on at second base. 2-1 delivery on the way to Snyder, and that's down low. So Nova struggling here in the third inning will take the count to 3-1.
Well, keep having patient at bats. Keep working Nova. He's yet to pitch over 100 pitches in a ball game. 92 is most number of pitches he's thrown this year. Now he may be extended a little bit more, but the Orioles would love to continue to put pressure on him and have these trying innings.
Here's the 3-1 delivery on the way, and that will be foul back. Joe Girardi, talking with him before the game about Nova, I asked, it's been a couple of years, in fact, since he's thrown 100 pitches in a ball game, and Girardi said, well, he said it happens fast on him. He said either it'll be he's up to like 80 pitches in 4 innings, or he gets his way into the 7th inning, and then he's up to 90 or so. And he said they all seem to come in bunches. He'll have a 1, 2, 3 inning, and then he'll have 4 or 5 hitters where he'll throw 25, 30 pitches in an inning. That one he had to reach for. It'll go to second base. Drew will make the play. Manny Machado moves over to third base with 2 down. Take a look at our Jeep inside the numbers.
Most home runs since 2012. Of course, the Baltimore Orioles leading the way with 751. They led the major leagues in home runs back-to-back years, 2013 and 2014. They were second in 2012. This year, they have 113 home runs. But look at that at the bottom. Since June 11th, 52 home runs, most in Major League Baseball. So they're getting back on that home run tear, and Ryan Flaherty adding to that number with a big 2-run shot.
Orioles starting the day 4th in home runs in the American League. Houston is number 1. Adam Jones takes it inside. Houston, Toronto, and the Yankees are 1, 2, 3 in homers. Adam Jones at the plate. Adam, chance to tie the ball game up 2 down. Machado's over at third. He lined into a double play to Drew at second base his first time up. And the pitch taken inside for a ball. The 2-0 count on Jones.
Adam Jones jammed a little bit in that first at bat and hit the line drive up the middle. It eventually ended up being that inning-ending double play. And at the end, Adam Jones was kind of laughing about that. Sometimes you got to laugh to stop from crying.
Yeah.
Hitting balls and taken away from you, and the Orioles have been it just seems like here the last couple weeks have had problems with that snake-bitten luck. But Adam Jones has 15 infield hits this season. Yesterday's ball game able to pick up a couple, tied for 7th in Major League Baseball. Adam Jones has to have that power respected, so a lot of infielders play deeper.
Ooh.
But his speed also has to be respected.
Good breaking ball right there. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Adam. Adam now 8 for 38 with a home run off Nova. Nova looking over there at third as he comes to a set, looking right at Machado. 2-2 delivery on the way. Jones down the third and foul.
Now this is I'm sure something that the Orioles have talked about when they get on base and Nova's pitching. If a hitter gets 2 strikes, be aware of the breaking ball in the dirt. That is one of his biggest put away pitch. You got to pay attention. We saw in last night's ball game a couple balls skipped by McCann, the Yankees catcher. He tries to pick the ball instead of block many times, and could score a run or 2.
2-ball, 2-strike count. Adam Jones, ooh, hit it or it will hit me. Ball coming in right around his top hand on that pull the bat back little swing there to protect himself.
Yeah, it just took off. He sees the ball and then it just rides up and in. It's a preventive swing there. Lucky he didn't take that one off the knuckles.
2-2 still. Nova throwing his 47th pitch. 2-2 delivery on the way. Jones will take it, and another full count. They check it first. Todd Tishner down there said he did not go around. So the count at 3-2. Manny Machado's on at third base. 2-run homer by Flaherty has made it a 3-2 Yankee lead. Now the Orioles trying to get that tying run in. Nova with the full count. And Adam down to third. Headley backing up. Big hop. On the money with the throw. So the Orioles get a couple of runs. 3 hits, no errors. 1 left on. Ryan Flaherty inserted because he hits well here in this ballpark. And he's now 4 for 8 off Nova with a long ball for 2. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by your local BMW centers. The number of photographs taken at just about that angle in New York probably begin to equal the photographs taken at the Statue of Liberty. There are people out there all day long shooting the outside of Yankee Stadium, that big entranceway. Kevin Gausman right back in it. This ball club getting 2. Go to the bottom of the third inning. A-Rod, Teixeira, and McCann will come up against the Oriole 23-year-old right-hander. Designated hitter. A-Rod popped out his first time up. I said to Joe Girardi before the game, all right, tell me something. Did you ever believe A-Rod would have the numbers he's got right now? Yes or no? No.
Well, I don't think anybody did.
Said I couldn't have believed that. He said, and the thing that worried me was the fact that he virtually hadn't played for 2 years.
Right.
He said all the rest of it he could deal with. But not having played for almost 2 years and trying to get back at the major league level at his age.
Yeah.
He said, I just didn't know what that was going to look like.
Yeah.
1-1 delivery on the way is taken inside. A 2-ball, 1-strike count.
Pretty amazing. But when you've had as many at bats as Alex Rodriguez has had in his career, you know, you expect him to be able to make adjustments, but you think the bat speed won't be there. Can
Down
he catch up?
Yep, Machado's got a long throw, and we'll get it.
Catch up with a good fastball, and he's proven this year, even though at the start of the year he was having a hard time catching up with the heater. Well, he's made his adjustments like great veteran players do, and he's putting up great numbers again. And I think the most important thing for Alex Rodriguez is he hasn't been a distraction to this team.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's Teixeira. He delivered the home run, his 24th in the first inning. 2 RBIs off it. First home run he's had off Gausman, only his second hit against Kevin in 9 at-bats as he pulled it down the line in right field. And Teixeira will take that one down low. 3-2 ball game. The 1-run games, as we mentioned at the top, piling up for both of these ball clubs. Orioles have now gone 12-15 in 1-run ball games. That is down near the bottom in win percentage in 1-run games in the majors, like 4th lowest. The Yankees are 15-13. 2-1 delivery on the way, and that ball up in the air towards left center. Snyder coming in, and he's got a couple of quick outs here in the 3rd inning. Sign up for the 6th annual Casey Cares 5K at Oriole Park. It'll be Saturday, August 1st. All proceeds benefiting critically ill children and their families. You can visit CaseyCares5K.org to register. 2 down, nobody on.
I'm talking about those 1-run games, and of course the Yankees and Orioles have been playing a lot of 1-run games this year. Last night's ball game, and they had already played 4 prior, but the Orioles, you know, much the same. If their home and road records, on the road they're 2-11 in 1-run games, and at home 10-3. So, you know, they just have to make those adjustments somehow, find a way to come up with big wins on the road.
1-ball, 1-strike delivery on the way down to first base, played by Ryan Flaherty. He'll go to the bag, and that will retire the side. So Gausman retiring the side in order each of the last 2 innings, and has set down the last 8 Yankees faces. BALATNYA.com.
Well, the Orioles starting to hit the ball hard here. We talked about J.J. Hardy starting to turn on some balls. Well, he hammers a single through the 5-6 hole at 102 miles an hour. Ryan Flaherty's 2-run shot, 97 miles an hour off the bat. And Manny Machado's been hitting some bullets all year long, 99 miles an hour with the double down the left field line. Manny Machado putting up some career numbers this year. Picked up his 14th stolen base. A lousy double. 20 home runs already this season.
Hardy and Joseph, a little discussion. And here's Matt Wieters. Nova delivers to him. Breaking ball misses. Matt grounded out his first time up. Davis and then Jonathan Scope are due up. Ivan Nover's gone 0-3 in his last 3 starts. He won his season debut on the 24th of June, coming back off the DL. Wieters down to first, foul ball. In those 3 losses, ERA of 4.7. And as we said, limited to 92 pitches so far by the Yankees. 50 thrown so far in the ballgame. It's a case, though, where if you're the Orioles, you might just as soon have him in the game longer.
Yeah.
Rather than the bullpen.
Unless they can get him out of this inning.
1-1 down to first base. Teixeira will go to the bank. Wieters retired, 1 away. We're in the 4th inning. The player designed T-shirt series is coming back to the ballpark next Thursday, July 30. And all fans at the evening game with the Tigers get the Glove Orioles T-shirt. It's designed by the Gold Glove winning Orioles shortstop J.J. Hardy. Celebrate the old shortstop and add to the wardrobe. Tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848-30. Here's Chris Davis. Davis robbed of a hit first time up. And a strike taken. Real fine play made by Drew. He was back, way back in the outfield.
What's
on the shift.
I think Chris Davis, unfortunately, starting to get used to base hits and home runs taken away. I mean, he's been on just about every highlight film you'll see.
In the air. And Beltran on to get it. Pitchers taking over in the ball game after each had one long inning. Gosman in the first, Nova in the third. 2 down. Yeah, we got a day game tomorrow to wrap up this series. Orioles hoping it'll be a rubber match game tomorrow. Baldo Jimenez, Masahiro Tanaka. 12:30 O's extra, 1 o'clock for the game. Going after the first pitch, Jonathan Scope, strikeout victim, his first time up.
Nova's got that good 2-seam fastball. He's been throwing in on the righties, and most of those 2-seamers have been riding in off the plate, but they look good. A couple aggressive swings, but nice late movement. And holding good velocity in the low 90s.
Nova's pitch again is going to be fouled off, taking and beating McCann. That's a couple that have gone off him here in the 2 swings by Jonathan Scope.
Yeah, we feel comfortable up here. Look at the sweat pouring off McCann. Man.
That's the old style combination of putting on that batting helmet backwards and wearing the cage rather than those new masks. 0-2 pitch on the way, and that one down the line, and that 2 will be fouled.
Well, McCann's an old school type catcher. Big reason they brought McCann over. His leadership. Now Derek Jeter gone, and McCann has taken on more of a leadership role. The end of last season, started stepping up this year. Really is the guy that this team turns to. I mean, controlling the pitching staff very well, having another solid year offensively with his 15 homers.
Scope fouling off pitch after pitch here in this at bat, holding that count at 2 strikes. Late arriving crowd tonight, as was true last night. Almost 38,000 here for the ball game last night. 2 down, bases are empty. Nova trying to find a way to get Scope out. Scope trying to win the battle. And another one. Foul back into the screen.
He's made a couple mistakes, missing his spot by about a foot or two. The Orioles just missing those opportunities. The Nissan pitch track. A couple of good pitches at the bottom of the zone. That fifth pitch was supposed to be down and away.
Where that one was. So the seventh pitch of the at bat will be coming up on a 1-ball 2-strike count. Nova 40 wins 23 losses career, real good win percentage, and that's going to miss down low. So Nova will take the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Defense pretty much straight up. Chase Headley guarding the line a bit at third. 2-2 delivery down that way, but it's going to be foul.
There have been a lot of balls hit hard down that third base line. Jonathan Scope just missing extra bases, which could have been a huge hit for the Orioles. They went just foul. We've seen Machado dive down the line. Headley now in this ball game diving down that line.
2-2 delivery again, and popped him up third base. Headley. He's got it. So he has a 1-2-3 inning, retiring the side in order, and the Yankees, after 3.5, have the 1-run lead.
On 3 runs, 4 hits, and he threw 29 pitches, but he settled down. Second and third inning, no runs, no hits, 23 pitches thrown. Trying to work his pitches a little bit better. Worked just off that outside corner. He's made much better pitches with his fastball inside, and he's locating the split finger down in the zone. A couple of hits in that first inning, hanging split fingers. Teixeira's home run, and Ellsbury started the game off with a double on a hanging split.
He has settled it in. He retired the final outs of the first inning on a strikeout. After the walk to Beltran, no Yankee has reached. 8 in a row set down. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. And the pitch will be taken for a strike. Beltran was stranded after getting that walk in the first inning. 3 runs, 4 hits, no errors for the Yankees. 2-3-0 for the Orioles. Beltran asking for the timeout. Beltran carries a .280 batting average and 7 home runs against the Orioles in his career. Which will miss down low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Veteran back in the lineup, fills that right field role, and more importantly, some pop plate still, and that's going to be down low.
Yeah, he got off to a slow start. Started to pick things up a little bit, and then had that oblique strain. He liked it when his bat was rolling in this lineup. Great veteran presence.
And the pitch will be away. Beltran now 38 years old. In a lot of places. Kansas City, great years. Played with the Mets on the other side of town. San Francisco, the Cardinals and Yankees. Down the line, left field. Snyder's not going to get it. It'll take a hop over his head. Beltran on his way to second base. He's going to lead off double.
Veteran hitter knows what to do. 19th double this season. And this isn't a lot of effort on this swing. That is a direct path to the baseball. Lets the fastball be in charge of providing the power. It's just backspun with a direct bat path out over Snyder's head for a leadoff double.
So the Yankees again, as they did in the first inning, get a runner to second base on the first batter up. Ellsbury in the first, and he would score. Beltran gets on here. Chase Headley with nobody out. His job, get him in or at least get him over. And a fastball that he went around on. Mike Everett the call at third base.
And one thing you definitely have to do is move that fastball around. You see Headley gearing up for it right there and just couldn't hold at the top of the zone. Done a nice job locating the four-seamer in on the lefties, riding it to the top of the zone for a couple strikeouts. So Caleb Joseph starting to work Gausman.
0-1 will get the runner over. Flaherty looks, no play, and will record the out. Over to third base goes Beltran. Checking in on what's going on in the minor league fields, our PNC minor league report.
Now stolen base leaders in the O's organization. Jay Gonzalez, 10th round pick last season, 25 stolen bases in Frederick. Adrian Marine, shortstop, only 21 years old, 17 stolen bases there. Glenn Davis, only 23. That's 15. He's got 118 stolen bases in his minor league career. Josh Hart, first round pick, 20 years old, 15 stolen bases. And the veteran Julio Borbon, he's got 170 minor league stolen bases, but 47 in the big league.
Infield drawn in. Runner's going to stay, and the play is made. So Gregorius going after the first pitch does not get it done. And the Orioles with the infield in force Beltran, who's not particularly fast, to stay at third base. And there is a big second out.
Well, it really was. And you take advantage of a young, aggressive hitter. Kevin Gausman gets him out in front. The weak ground ball to J.J. Hardy. Nice timing pulling that infield in. And keep Beltran over there at third base.
Now Stephen Drew a strikeout victim his first time up. Yankees already just 1 for 5 with runners in scoring position. They went 1 for 10 in the ball game last night. And Gausman trying to keep that runner at third. 3-2. Yankees on top, 2 down. And a 1-0 count on Drew. Drew still, after his first hit against Gausman, he is 0 for 9. Manny Machado in a little bit at third base, the lefty up. Pitch is going to miss up and away. 2-0. Oh, what a beautiful sunset.
Wow.
Over New Jersey and the Hudson. Great sky. If a painter could paint that, they would be a multi-millionaire. 2-0 delivery and a swing and a miss. Good pitch, throttled back on that. Drew looking for the heater.
Yeah, good change. Now, Kevin Gausman, I've been talking about his split finger, but he has a straight change as well. There is the split finger variety, but he's thrown some circle changes. Come in looking just like his four-seam fastball. That split finger has a little bit more fade, a little better action down at the bottom of the zone.
2-1 delivery, and then back with the fastball at 97. That will miss outside. So a 3-ball, 1-strike count on Drew. Beltran let it off with a double, got moved up by Headley, but big out on a drawn-in infield against Gregorius. 3-1 delivery on the way. Drew is swing and a miss. A drop off the table pitch, and it's 3-2.
Well, that's what kind of confidence he has in that split finger. 3-1 count. Great hitters count. He let it fly in his first at bat on a 3-1 fastball. Gausman eventually struck him out on the high heater, but there 3-1 drops the nasty split at the bottom of the zone. You see the fifth pitch there, just under the strike zone.
Full count, and the delivery by Gausman is outside. So the second walk he has surrendered. You really do want to get that 9-hitter rather than turning it over to Ellsbury at the top of the order. So first and third, 2 down. Jacoby Ellsbury a double and a run scored. and he has flied out. Ellsbury will get a shot here at adding to the Yankee lead. Ellsbury, a tough start in the month of July, hitting only .205 coming into the ball game. A double he got in the first inning, only his second hit in 12 at bats against Kevin Gausman. First and third, 2 out. Goes after one and pumps it foul.
You see the great velocity, 97 miles an hour. We talked about when a lot of times he ends up becoming a thrower when you see his velocity up there. And that fastball, Caleb Joseph wanted it in under the hands. Leaked back over the middle of the plate. Ellsbury able to get a healthy cut.
0-1. Runners on first and third, and that'll be popped away. The Yankees, as a team, 9th in the league at .248 with runners in scoring position. They have only 2 players hitting over .300. Gardner, .323, and then McCann at .350. Big number. Girardi, though, has had Ellsbury come through. He's .296, so he's not far behind the other 2 in these situations. 0-2 count. Gausman looking for the third out. Pitch on the way to him will be up high.
That's a good pitch. Just kind of changing the eye level a little bit. And Ellsbury susceptible to the high fastball. Really stays on that backside. Elevated heaters you see a lot of times. A hitter that stays back, the bat head tends to drop. It's better low ball hitters. Big part of the field, center field. Why not stay up at the top of the zone?
And that one is going to be to second base. Scope the flip to Hardy, and in time to get the force out on Drew. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 are left on base. Yankees up by 1 sunset time. Armas the do-ups. Hardy, Flaherty, and Joseph. Words. Really? Well, this is what I said when I saw this. This is a quote from a book written by Taylor Spink regarding the reign of Judge Kennesaw Mountain Landis as the commissioner of baseball. In 1928, the National League proposed a 10th man rule, a DH. This was 1928. The AL opposed it. Commissioner Judge Landis probably favored it, but never got to decide the issue. The National League withdrew the proposal before an MLB board meeting. So as far back as 1928, the idea of a DH had been in existence.
Wow.
I couldn't believe that. And according to the book, Landis, had it come before him, would have approved it, and it would have been a DH in the other league.
Yeah.
At the time, all the way back to 1928. Wow. As they say, there are no new thoughts. They're all just recycled. Here is J.J. Hardy. Hardy, a base hit, run scored, third inning. Ryan Flaherty, 4th home run. accounting for the 2 the Orioles have. Breaking ball. Did he go? 3 runs, 4 hits. First inning for the Yankees. RBI single Gardner and a 2-run homer by Mark Teixeira. Two ball, 1 strike count. And that pitch is going to skim. So Hardy gets ahead on the count, 3-1.
JJ gets himself into a good count here. Of course, hammered that fastball for a base hit. Nova going to challenge him with the heater.
3-1 delivery, and that's fouled off.
It does, but a good 2-seamer as it rides in on the hands of JJ.
I do have to give credit for that on that book, which I am going to read and haven't read yet. Tom Ostertag, counsel with Major League Baseball, is the one who pointed that out to me at lunch the other day. I couldn't believe it. Yeah. But I said, "You give me the quote." Before I get back to the hotel, he did. A leadoff walk, and Hardy is on. So the Orioles get the leadoff man on again, and Nova, that's the second walk he's given up. The next fireworks night, Orioles Park, set for Friday, July 31, after the Orioles take on the Tigers at 7:05. Stay after the game. The Birdland skies light up. Great display presented by Kaiser Permanente. Good seats remain, but won't last. For tickets, Orioles.com or 888-848. So the Orioles, for the second time in a game, get a leadoff walk. Third time in 5 innings they've had the leadoff man on. Pitch is taken for a strike, and here's Flaherty.
That's first at bat. It's the low fastball and hammers it for a 2-run shot. Ryan Flaherty playing first base for the first time this season. Doesn't disappoint with the bat.
0-1 the count. Nova the long hold. Flaherty, another big cut, will foul it off at the plate. For Ryan, not a lot of at bats so far here in the month of July. He only had 19. He is 5 for 19 with a home run. As Jonathan Scopes returned, took him out of the lineup with all the second base starts that he had.
Well, Flaherty played a great defense while Jonathan Scope was healing up that knee, and he swung the bat pretty well. I don't think Buck Showalter, was upset that Flaherty was playing second base and writing him in the lineup every day. He was very solid for this team.
Yankee bullpen starting to do their yoga. Flaherty with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Nobody throwing down there yet, but they're all scurrying around. 1-2. 1-run ball game here in the 5th inning. Nova's up to 71 pitches thrown. 1-2 delivery to Flaherty, and that one will miss.
And that is a great take from Ryan Flaherty. We've seen in the past him flailing at off-speed pitches down and out of the zone, especially with 2 strikes. He gets a little antsy, but here staying on the backside, the limited head movement, so he can track the ball so much better the whole way. That is a great take on a rare changeup from Nova.
2-2 count. Hardy close to first base, and that'll just miss away. So Nova not getting him to go after those pitches that aren't quite there. Count goes to 3-2. There's nobody out. Look over to Bobby Dickerson, third base coach by Hardy, to see whether or not they want him moving here or not.
You see the number of pitches. Talk about him not getting past 92 and the pitch count getting jacked up here.
There goes the runner, and he walked him. So some close pitches and a great eye in that at bat. 2 walks in a row here in the 5th. The Orioles got a chance. As they talk, we'll look. Our aerial coverage provided by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV, and from up there it looks like this. Well, no, it doesn't. That's what it looks like from, what's that, high third?
Well, the blimp just landed on the Orioles dugout. So yeah, this is.
So that's a shot. Good cover. There's what it looks like from on high. Same design as the other Yankee stadiums had here in New York, but all new facilities.
Beautiful stadium.
Here's Caleb Joseph. There's a big chance for the Orioles. 3 walks given up by Nova now. They're playing for a bunt. They get it. He He got it right where he wanted it to be. Headley has to make the play. Fine sacrifice. Will put 2 in scoring position and 1 out.
Beautiful bunt by Caleb Joseph. You want the third baseman to field it. Executed it perfectly after some great at-bats from Hardy and Flaherty. He gets that bat head out in front early. You see him sneaking out in front. The bat head better be out in front of the plate. Establish the angle. There it is. Very limited movement. Perfectly executed by Caleb Joseph. And oh yeah, well deserving of the high fives.
Looks like he did a home run. Now the Orioles got a chance to get the lead in this ball game. Manny Machado's picked up a double, and he has walked. 2 in scoring position and only 1 out. The infield is back. Will surrender the run to get the out. Nova's delivery. Machado down to third and foul. I was watching as came back to the dugout. Caleb Joseph. We talked about it before. Buck Showalter rarely congratulates hitters who hit home runs. He said, I want the guys to celebrate that, have their celebration. He was the first one on the step for the sacrifice to give Caleb Joseph the hand pat.
Absolutely. Well, Buck Showalter loves the well-rounded players. He loves players that he can push buttons with and execute the very important parts of the ball game.
Pitch will be taken inside. Nova struggling with the strikes. Shreve up. Jason Shreve, first action we've seen in the bullpen. Nova's giving some body language that he's not real happy with some of these calls by Tim Welke, the home plate umpire. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Manny Machado drives it. Headley stops it. Runner stays. Scoop by Teixeira. Oh, mercy. Talk about preventing a run the hard way.
Pretty nice play right there by Headley at third base. Manny Machado whistling one down there. Headley's feet get active. A quick glance at Hardy at third. And Teixeira with another beautiful pick at first base. He has saved this Yankees infield. We've seen it a couple times in this series, but all year long, making the unbelievable picks in the dirt.
What Girardi was saying, the rule of the Yankee infield is get it somewhere close to first base.
Right.
And Teixeira will take care of the rest. Tough out for Machado. So now with 2 away, Travis Snyder grounded out, flied out. He'll get the chance. And a swing and a miss and a high heater at 95. 3-2 ball game, 5th inning. Yankees are up. Orioles knocking on the door again. They left a runner on at third base in the 3rd inning. Now they've got 2 in scoring position. Here's the 0-1 delivery on the way. Another one of those close pitches, but I think you're seeing McCann go out because he does not like the body language he's seeing from Nova, who seems to be spending more time worrying about umpiring than pitching.
Yeah, right. Just settle in. Trust that McCann is taking care of business behind the plate. If they're borderline calls, well respected in this game, he'll be having a conversation with Welke. You know, communicating to him, hey, he's hit these pitches or spots before. Help him out a little bit. Let Nova show up the home plate umpire, and you'll get none of those calls.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Snyder on the off-speed delivery fouls it off. An 81. That's a real good pitch. Change of pace. So the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Oriole base runners, Hardy. You have the lead-off walk, lead runner at third base, and Flaherty at second, who got another walk. Jones hoping for an at-bat. Nova with the 1-2 delivery, and he'll be outside with it. And that's where McCann wanted it.
And mixing in the slow curveball. His fastball, the velocity starting to climb. A couple at 95 against Snyder here. Look at the Nissan pitch track. Working off that outside corner, and a couple of those misses. I mean, how can you argue about that?
2-2. Delivery to Travis Snyder. Ground ball to second base. Played by Drew. And records the out. So the Orioles 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Leave 2 in this inning.
For Gausman, Teixeira taking him deep. It's a 2-run shot, and the Yankees ended up putting 3 on the board in the first. But Ryan Flaherty answers back, showing off the power to deep right field. A 2-run shot to get the Orioles a little bit closer. Gausman, a little bit of a jam after a Beltran double and a walk. He's able to get the ground ball and out of the inning. Kevin Gausman has certainly settled into this ball game. Remember, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
A real good ball game as we go to the bottom of the 5th. 3-5-0 the Yankees, 2-3-0 for the Orioles. Kevin Gausman, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. 3 walks and 2 strikeouts for Nova. Brett Gardner will lead it off. Gardner, an RBI base hit and a run scored, and he is flied out. 1 for 2. Couple of hits, 5 at bats in the first 2 games. Gardner will take that one away. Hitting a little over 270 against the Orioles this year, which is about 50 points higher than his career average against the Orioles. 1-0 pitch by Gausman will be taken. That is in there for a strike.
You were talking about Gardner earlier in the ball game, that active streak of reaching base, and 2 other players you mentioned, Harper and Yelich, 2 of the young stars in the game, is 22 and 23 years old. But Gardner been around for a while, 31 years old, and he's getting on base his whole career. He has a .350 on base percentage this year, up to .378. It's a nice little run of reaching base.
Yeah, he's been a quality guy at the top of the order for the Yankees, really resulting in run production, in the fact that he is 4th in the league in runs scored coming into play today. That has helped the Yankees. Kind of a little surprising. The Yankees came into this game with only a +28 in their run differential, which is not that high. The Orioles are +43 coming in. And a great pitch. Gausman came back in on him and gets the strikeout, his 4th.
He's been working the fastball inside much better than the beginning of the game. Caleb Joseph setting in. Yeah, there's a little run on this fastball, but 95. I think Gardner can't catch up to.
So Gausman gets the first out. 2 out of 5 have reached for the Yankees, leadoff batter-wise. Rodriguez has popped out, and he is grounded out, 0 for 4 in the 2 games. And he'll take a strike on the inside corner. Hitting .250 against the Orioles this year, 3 home runs, but he's had 8 RBIs driven in against the Orioles this season for Rodriguez. 0-1 delivery on the way, and he gets that one way back in left center, and goodbye home run. Number 20.
He was a little upset on the call on the first fastball inside, so had some words, but kept his composure and is able to take advantage of another mistake. The split finger or the straight change that stayed in the heart of the plate. See Caleb Joseph setting up down and away. And there it is, 85 miles an hour. Like a BP fastball right down the middle.
And Teixeira going for another one. He had his 24th in the first inning. So A-Rod, 20th home run of the season, 4th of the year against the Orioles, and makes it a 4-2 ball game. Teixeira jammed on it. Davis will come on and make the catch. And 2 down here in the 5th inning. On Saturday, August 1st, celebrate the Free State. First 25,000 fans 15 and over receive a Maryland-themed Oriole bird bobblehead. An instant collector's item as your favorite mascot's preparing his very own crab feast. Good seats remain. Going fast. Get tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. 674 home runs for Rodriguez, 4th on the all-time list. Brian McCann Two down, nobody on. McCann base hit. He is 1 for 2. Grounded out, his other time up. And that pitch in the dirt a little bit. 2 home runs off Gausman, 2 of the 6 hits picked up by the Yankees.
You see 104 miles an hour off the bat of Rodriguez. Fastball there, a couple off-speed pitches. Gausman's been pretty good at backdooring that curveball to the lefties to get ahead, but he missed on a couple. Falls behind, but just dots a fastball inside there for a strike.
That ball inside out pop up. Machado a long way to go in the shift. He'll get over there in foul territory and he will put it away. So the Yankees, who score about 47% of their runs on homers, get another from A-Rod and now have a 2-run lead. Today, their bullpen did what it has not done for a while. They gave up runs. 3 earned runs, 4 and 2/3 innings, and a loss to Philly. Previous 8 games, they had a 1.01 ERA. The Red Sox 6-game losing streak. They have been outscored in that streak 38-13 during that span. And the Toronto Blue Jays, the first team to score 500 runs this season. Only 9 teams have scored 400 runs. And they are really pumping it up. It is the fastest the team has reached the 500 run mark since the Red Sox did it back in 2011 in 94 games. Sox are behind early in their game 1-0 tonight against Houston.
Those Red Sox they won on a nice little tear. They won like 11 out of 16 to get back within 5 games of the Yankees at the top of the division, but they find themselves falling back to 10 again after this losing streak.
So the Orioles down by a couple. Nova stays on. Probably will be his last inning if he can get through it. That 84 pitch count. Adam Jones leading it off. Lined into a double play and he is grounded out. That one down to third and foul. Jones, Wieters, and Davis will be due up for the Orioles. That home run picked up by A-Rod against the O's, his 65th career home run against the Orioles in 903 at bats. So he has homered every 13.8 at bats against the Orioles in his career.
Pretty impressive stuff.
1-1 delivery on the way, and he got jammed. Headley will play it fair ball, falls down, and no, foul ball. Sorry. Headley came in front of the bag, which is probably the only reason that ball went foul. Looked like he just tripped on the bag.
Yeah, got the read. You got to make the plays, but yeah, that right foot kind of slips in the dirt. Umpire calls foul, but he does not. You're the umpire. You see that right foot slide down through there, so loses his footing a little bit. the wherewithal just to make the throw to first, not realizing that the ball had been called foul.
So 1 ball, 2 strike count as Adam Jones comes back and gathers his breath. He was digging down the line looking for another one of those infield hits we talked about earlier. Orioles have only 3 hits in the game. Manny Machado a double, single by Hardy, Flaherty's home run. Those latter 2 coming back to back, and he gets the call. Adam waiting momentarily.
Well, Nova's been working that 2-seamer to the righties, and he worked the first 3 in off the plate, but the last one, well, didn't look like it caught the box on the pitch track, but McCann receives it well and gets the call from home plate umpire Tim Wilkie.
So 1 down in the 6th inning. Matt Wieters has grounded out. 0 for 2 in the game, 1 for 5 in the 2 games. Wieters will take the pitch for a ball. Matt coming in with a .375 average against the Yankees this year. Working as the Orioles DH in this ball game, something Buck Showalter not prone to do a lot. 1-0 pitch. Ball put up in the air to center, going back Ellsbury. He's got 2 down. Be sure to text Masson's word of the day Sunday to 29292 for your chance to win a meet and greet with Buck Showalter. Brought to you by Outback Steakhouse, where the No Worries Wednesdays menu is now available on Sundays.
Nice.
Here's Chris Davis. Davis 0 for 2 in the ball game. Chris coming in with a 4-game hit streak, tied for most strikeouts now with Carter of Houston in the league. He'll be fouled back upstairs. Chris has secured the spot in the outfield in right. He's moving out there now. That's what they're doing on a regular basis. Take a look back at the outfield situation for the Orioles. Those the Orioles tried: Alejandro De Aza, Delman Young, Steve Pearce, Travis Snyder, David Lowe, Chris Davis. And the decision, Chris would be the regular right fielder for the moment at least, and still no regular left fielder.
Yeah,
Travis in left tonight.
And, some moves, just try to bolster the offense and shore up the defense a little bit. Parmley's played some first base. Steve Pearce, and tonight Ryan Flaherty. Not that Chris Davis was playing a bad first base, but they need some help in the outfield. Chris Davis proving once again how athletic he is. He's played a fine right field. He has a great arm.
1 ball, 1 strike count from Nova. And he'll miss with the off-speed delivery.
And I think some of the strategy, too, might be so Chris Davis doesn't have to think about everything that has to happen at first base. Maybe just free his mind a little bit, think more about hitting. Not that you don't concentrate out in right field, but there's so many situations that happen on infield. You have to be aware every pitch. So maybe that little freedom will help Davis lock in offensively, pick up more base hits, and of course more balls out of the yard.
2-2 delivery on the way by Nova. Ground ball into that shift again. There's Drew. And there's the out. Retires the side of Nova in order. The fans giving him a hand, figuring that may be it for Nova. Yankees have the lead 4-2. from Sportsnet. This is interesting. Young man you see there, 6'2", Dean Kremer, the golden boy of Israeli baseball, the first Israeli citizen, to be selected in the MLB draft, and the country's greatest hope of lifting the sport from its decades-long second-class status. Now, that jersey he's wearing is the San Joaquin Delta College jersey. He's going to college in California. He has a dual citizenship, and he spends time both in California and in Israel. But as an Israeli citizen being drafted, he's really generated some interest in baseball.
Wow, I bet.
Well, we wish him well. Padres draft choice. And again, I think a lot of that has to do with the World Baseball Classic. As many people in this country who may not like it, it has spread baseball interest around the world because of teams playing under their own flag.
Absolutely.
A 1-0 delivery on the way. Beltran will take it for a strike. He's had a double and a walk in the ball game. Headley and then Gregorius to follow. Kevin Gausman, 85 pitches thrown. Only his 4th start and 12th appearance of the year. And has done a heck of a job regrouping after a 3-run, 4-hit first inning. Only other run since the home run hit by Rodriguez, solo shot in the 5th. He made 2 starts at AAA after being demoted because they wanted to keep him on a regular pitching schedule with the plan to bring him back up for this game. He tried to jump on that, fouls it back into the screen.
Well, good luck getting on those last 2 fastballs from Kevin Gausman. 98 down below the knees, and then up at the top of the zone, 97.
1-2 delivery on the way with a shift on is outside. Kevin starts this year against Toronto, 2 runs, 4 hits, and 5, and ND. Against Texas, no runs, 4 hits, 6 and a third, and ND. And then a loss against Minnesota, which was on July 7th. That was his last major league start. He gave up 8 runs, 7 hits, 3 2/3 innings. Adam Jones, who plays shallow center, does it so he can get to those kind of fly balls really easy. 1-0.
Well, check it out how he got here. Kevin Gausman this season started the season in the O's bullpen. Of course, he was competing for that 5th starter spot out of spring training, but Ubaldo really stepped up and took it over. Based on the DL on May 8th with the shoulder tendonitis. June 22nd sent down to the minors, called back up, sent back down, called back up. Overall, Kevin Gausman up and down 22 times in his young career. So, you know, I think so many people hope that Kevin can just settle in here at the major league level, be the pitcher that they're hoping he can be. Very smart kid. He learns from every start. I think he's just going to get better and better. We've seen some great pitches in this ball game, and I think you see his maturity, what he went through in the first inning, and then to settle down and pitch the way he's been doing, and he's been giving his team a chance, is very impressive.
Pitch on the way down to first and foul. There were, as we said, rumors today, Buster Olney, ESPN, that the Oriole right-hander Kevin Gausman was available in a trade discussion if somebody wanted to do it, if the price was right. Speaking with Masson before the ball game, Orioles Executive Vice President GM Dan Duquette, while not saying he was, didn't say he wasn't. And he's going to join us tomorrow during our ball game, and we'll ask Dan about that. But he didn't flat say no, not available.
You know,
Bloop to third, Manny Machado, foul territory.
Nice play. I think everybody's available. I know.
Is Manny Machado available?
Absolutely.
You really think so?
Absolutely. Everybody is available. Can you imagine if somebody offered 2 frontline starting pitchers, proven track record, and who knows, maybe a minor league team for Manny Machado? You got to take that, right?
A minor league team.
Right.
I was waiting to see if you're going to name a player.
I'm just saying. I think everybody's available, and depending on what they're willing to offer, because some teams have given up some pretty impressive players.
Yeah.
You know, in trade. So.
Yeah, you're right. They are, but I don't think Manny Machado's available. I don't think Adam Jones is available.
No, I mean,
no, and I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but I just think if you wanted to, if you're a GM, you can say no.
Yeah.
We got some core franchise player guys who aren't available. That ball will go to left. It'll stay up. Nice diving catch made by Travis Snyder. And Gregorius is retired, and Gausman has a 1, 2, 3, 6th inning. Nice play by the Oriole left fielder. Yankees on top by a score of 4-2. The defense helping the cause.
Is 92. Now it's time for our AT&T call to the bullpen. AT&T, proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. AT&T mobilizing your world. Well, Chasen Shreve out of the Yankees bullpen. A good left-handed pitcher, 25 years old. Take a look at his arsenal. The fastball 51% of the time. Low 90s with that heater. Breaking ball, hard slider 20% of the time. And a very good split change, 29% of the time. 193 earned run average. Does have 6 wins out of the bullpen. 38 punch-outs in his 37 and a third innings of work. It's hitting just 172. Righty's way down to 152, and the lefty's just 204. He is a fly ball pitcher. 60% of his outs recorded in the air.
Shreve has actually picked up a win against the Orioles this year. 1-0 record, 2 games pitched, 3 in the third innings, no runs, 1 hit. A walk and 3 strikeouts against the Orioles this season. Jonathan Scope leads it off. 4-2 ball game, 7th inning. 4-6-0 the Yankees, 2-3-0 for the Orioles. Teixeira, A-Rod have homered for the Yankees. They got an RBI from Gardner as well in the first inning, and Flaherty with a 2-run homer in the third. The Orioles, all their hits all came in the inning where they got the 2 runs, third inning. It's the only inning where they've picked up a base hit. And a strike in the inside corner. Shreve, the left-hander, evens the count up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jonathan Scope, he has popped out and struck out against the lefties, hitting only a $182 this year. 1-1 down low. Day game tomorrow. 12:30 O's extra. 12 o'clock for the ball game. Ubaldo Jimenez 7-5. Masahiro Tanaka 6-3. Two ball, 1 strike count. Straightaway D. And underneath the arms at 92. 3-1.
The pitchers have been going hard in on the righties. Plate umpire Tim Wilkie kind of expanding the zone in there, so that is the go-to. See none of the pitches on the plate. That second pitch called a strike, a fastball in.
Here's the 3-1 delivery on the way. That'll come back to right to Beltran. He's got away from him. Jonathan Scope retired, 1 away, 7th inning. Follow the Orioles wherever you are with MLB.com at bat, #1 app for live baseball. At bat up to the moment, any moment, in-game highlights, live look-ins, replays, radio broadcasts, and more. MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. I'm checking the scoreboard now. Is he look at the moon, or is that Pluto? And the latest shots back from the ice-covered smallest non-planet. Nope, that's the moon. So tonight with MLB.com at bat, as we enjoy an adult beverage, we'll be able to listen to, let's see, the Angels. They'll be on, late game. Miami, Arizona will be on. Toronto, Oakland. That's the one I'll probably listen to late start. Or you can watch it. I like to listen to the radio versions. Pitch is taken up. 1 ball, 1 strike count. And a Morin ready in the bullpen. One ball, 1 strike count. Hardy with a base hit and a walk and a run scored in the game. Yankee bullpen has just been magnificent all year, better of late. Couple of wins over the last 9 games. They're 2-0, ERA 1.50. When you get to Dylan Betances and Andrew Miller, it gets even better. Grounded to short. Gregorius up. 2 down. And as we promised earlier in the game, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. You can tweet your strongest fan photo to O's Couch Cam, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Question we have for you is, which one of those two took the picture?
I know. Looks like that dog is looking right in there. That's a great picture.
Ryan Flaherty, 2 down, nobody on. Flaherty a walk and a home run. Shift on. Goes the other way. And it will be foul. Flaherty against the lefties, 237. Not a lot of difference. 246 off right-handers. Those numbers coming into the ball game. Shreve the 1-0. And Flaherty will take that one inside. Brad Brock for the Orioles. Shreve just celebrating his 25th birthday about a week ago. Born, raised, lives in Las Vegas. He went to college out there. He went to the College of Southern Nevada. And he has been in the Atlanta choice and then coming over to the Yankees. He pitched in Atlanta at the big league club only in 15 games. And that was last year. 2-1 delivery. And that's going to miss. Flaherty's had a real solid eye tonight.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, he's not flinching. Letting the ball travel. Getting a good load and locking in, waiting for a pitch to come over the heart of the plate. And it does. He's getting the bat head out there.
3-1 with 2 down. Left-hander's pitch is there for a strike. Flaherty gave it the really stance. Full count delivery to him, and he'll keep it alive.
He's got to protect there. After the second strike called on the outside corner. Nice job protecting. You like the way he's taking. He's staying tall, trusting what he's seeing. If there's a mistake on the plate, he's going to take a healthy rip.
3 ball, 2 strike count becoming again. 7th pitch of the at bat will be fouled off. Tell you about how good this Yankee bullpen is. We had a number today, really amazing. The Yankee bullpen's got an opponent batting average of 212. That is the lowest team batting average for a bullpen since 1920. That will get you some wins. Larry Rothschild, pitching coach. 3-2 delivery again, and that one goes to left field. Gardner was playing in. He gets over and will make the catch. Well, Sheev comes on and retires the side in order here in the 7th inning. 7th inning stretch time here in New York. The middle game of this 3-game set. Yankees lead it 4-2. Look at Manhattan from the Bronx, where the Yankees have the 4-2 lead. Fans settling in after the 7th inning stretch. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick.
I'll take a look at Kevin Gausman's line. 66% fastballs, any breaking balls. Change up his go-to off-speed pitch 27% of the time. 96 pitches. He did give up the 4 earned runs, couple home runs, but a pretty nice outing by Gausman. Now it's time for a little relief. For your car too, visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube. Drive in today. Will Brad Brock, hometown hero, just across the bridge from New Jersey, pitching in front of some friends and family today. Fastball 63% of the time. That sweeping slider 12%, and a devastating change at 25% of the time. His numbers this year for Brad Brock: 3 wins, a 3.02 earned run average, 50 punch-outs in 44 and 2/3 innings of work. Hold opponents down to just a 215 batting average. Righties at 236, lefties just 198. And he is a fly ball pitcher. 61% of his outs recorded in the air.
Well, we're talking about how good the Yankee bullpen has been. Where would the Orioles be for the work they've done?
They have been outstanding, and since June 3rd, phenomenal. Just a 212 earned run average, first in Major League Baseball, holding opponents down to 208. Yeah, that's first as well. Pretty good save percentage, tied for second, 85.7, and the home runs at .49. 9 innings pitched, that's 4th. So 20 straight innings pitched without allowing a home run out of this Orioles bullpen, and everybody has really stepped up and done a nice job. Brad Brock's been strong. Britton, of course, outstanding closer, all-star closer, 20 consecutive saves. Tommy Hunter's been looking solid. Rough start to the season, but has certainly settled in. Mattis is the 1 earned run over the last 13 outings. O'Day, all-star out of the pen, just 3 earned runs the last 33 outings. And Chaz Rowe has stepped up and done a nice job. Has not allowed an inherited runner this season.
And the Orioles bullpens had to do that because the Orioles starters have not done what Buck Showalter had hoped, and that's pitch deeper into ball games. 4th fewest innings from a starting staff as the Orioles. Pitch taken down low for a ball. Drew leads it off. Stephen Drew, 7th inning. He has walked and struck out, getting a chance against Brad Brock with Gausman out of there. 1-0 delivery, and that'll go the other way, foul. Brock this year against the Yankees. This will be game number 3. He's picked up a win in 3 innings. The Yankees have done nothing against him. He has walked only 1 and struck out 4 in those 3 innings worked this year. There's Kevin Gausman. Not a bad return.
Yeah, I think it's pretty impressive. I mean, you figure first start, everything kind of on his shoulders right now. I'm sure they've talked to him about settling into this rotation. Finally, Kevin Gausman hopefully arrived in his mind in the Yankee Stadium. So that first inning, the jitters kind of showed up with the 3 runs given up.
Going to be a tough play. Hardy on a running throw, and he gets it over there. Drew is retired. 1 down, 7th. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. So Gausman hopefully back into that rotation for the rest of the season. Understandably, you haven't pitched at the majors since July 7th. The first inning's a tough one. 3 runs, 4 hits, and right now it's the difference in the ballgame.
Yeah, it really is. But you know, I think he pitched really well. I think this is the type of start you want to see out of Kevin Gausman. He'll obviously learn from this start. I think he's going to go back and kind of review what happened in the first inning and the adjustments that he made. Talked about his ability, if he wanted to have success against this Yankees team, to be able to throw the 4-seamer into the lefties for a strike, not just in off the plate, but get it in there for a quality strike. He started to do that. He settled down. He was rising the fastball up in the zone for some strikeouts, and he started to get some swing and misses on that nice split finger as well.
Top of the order, Ellsbury, double run scored. 1 for 3. 0-1 pitch in the air towards the gap. Jones coming, Davis coming, look out. And Adam Jones records the 2 down.
Play right there. Of course, Adam Jones all year long, some different partners in the outfield. So there has to be great communication. They're both heavyweights going after that ball. Adam Jones calling it. Lets Davis take the deep route.
2 down. That'll bring Gardner up. Gardner a run scored in an RBI first inning. He has flied out, struck out. We're talking about how good this combination of Ellsbury and Gardner is at the top. You take a look at their major league rankings. They have scored more runs as a combo at the top of the order than any other 1 and 2 batters in a lineup. Their on base percentage is second to the Giants, who are first. They've got the 4th best combined batting average and the 4th best combined OPS. So that's a tough couple to deal with. And when you guarantee to have them up in the same inning in the first inning, that's why the Yankees are leading the world in first inning runs scored.
Well, I'll tell you, when you have speed at the top and you have 2 quality leadoff hitters going 1 and 2, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and it puts a lot of pressure on a pitcher if they get on. You know, the stealing bases, you got to shorten up your defense on these guys because they can both bunt. So heads kind of spinning around, and these guys have taken advantage. And you talked about the runs. I mean, 140 runs these 2 have scored top of this Yankees lineup.
2 ball, 1 strike delivery on the way by Brock, the other way foul. And they did it in this ball game. Both got on in the first inning. Ellsbury doubled. Gardner brought him home a single. Gardner would score and a home run by Teixeira. So 3 runs, 4 hits in the first inning. Home run A-Rod in the 5th. The Orioles trying to get back into it. Flaherty did so. 3rd inning, delivering his 4th home run, 2 RBIs. Hardy came in ahead of him. The Orioles have not had a hit since. 2-2 delivery, and that one broken in on the handle, broken bat, and the play made to record the out by Jonathan Stone. So the Orioles need a couple of base runners and a couple of runs as they trail by 2. Our Honda do-ups, Joseph, Machado, and Snyder. Royal Farms. Royal Farms ATMs are surcharge free. Get your cash for nothing. Bank or credit card fees may still apply. By visitannapolis.org. Find the Chesapeake experience at visitannapolis.org. And by your local Mercedes dealership. Statue of Liberty has been all gussied up, and she's back open. Visitors now can go up, climb to the top again. It's almost as tall as Del Matanza.
Yeah, right. At 6'8". Yeah, he comes close to the Statue of Liberty. Take a look at his pitch arsenal. The fastball only 32% of the time, and it's from 95 to 99 miles an hour. But he has a wipeout breaking ball that he goes to early and often. 143 earned run average. Does have 6 wins, but also 7 saves on the year. 81 punch-outs in 50 1/3 innings of work. That's the definition of a power pitcher. Opponent's hitting just 124 overall. Giving up 2 long balls.
Caleb Joseph will lead it off for the Orioles in the top of the 8th inning. He'll go to third, and he'll be out. Headley right at him.
The Orioles looking for some breaks, and they haven't had many here in the last couple of weeks. That bullet right on the nose, but right at Headley.
Machado with a 1-for-5 off Betances. Jason Shreve worked an inning and retired the side in order. The only base runner the Orioles have had since the 3rd inning were 2 walks. Hardy and Flaherty picked them up back to back in the 5th inning, and both stranded in scoring position in that inning. And that looms as a very big opportunity lost in this game for the Orioles. Betances with a pitch that will garner your attention at 96. Yikes.
Yeah. Up and in. So very good fastball that certainly every hitter has to respect, but it's his curveball kind of shocks the world. Very hard curveball with a very sharp late bite.
Goes outside with it, set that pitch up nicely. Manny 1-for-5 off Betances. There's Bud Norris in the Oriole bullpen. One ball, 2-strike delivery on the way, and Machado started and went. According to the first base umpire, Todd Titchner, tag was put on, and he's arguing about it.
Buck doesn't like the call either. The hard slider once again gets it going. Oh, he doesn't get the bat head out there.
Nope, no break on that one either. So 2 down. Oh for 3 in the ballgame. Travis Snyder, the off-speed pitch, will be in there for a strike. Snyder to be followed by Jones if he can get on and keep this inning going. He will foul that one back into the screen. Betances just throws a lot of strikes.
Just pounding the strike zone. Got good fastball and the hard breaking ball. Betances, a hometown hero, a Manhattan native. Come watch the Yankees play when he was a kid.
0-2 delivery on the way. He gets 2 strikeouts and retires the side in order. Bottom half of the 8th inning from Yankee Stadium, where the Yankees are up by
Kevin Gausman trying to keep his team in it. Alex Rodriguez trying to get some separation. He gets a mistake changeup in the middle of the plate, and he hammers it over the bullpens. His 20th of the year. And here we are, bottom of the 8th inning. Yankees having that lead 4-2. Bud Norris out of the Orioles bullpen. Get back on track. Fastball 64% of the time. Breaking ball, hard slider 29% of the time. Straight change 7% of the time. See his numbers on the year. 15 games, 11 starts. That earned run average 6.82. 35 punchouts, 23 walks on the year for Bud Norris. Opponents hitting a lofty 298. Lefties all the way up to 322. Giving up 13 long balls this season. So Bud Norris trying to find that fastball command. Has been missing all season long.
So Bud Norris will work against Rodriguez here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. He asked for a timeout, didn't get it. It's a strike. Ball ends up in center field. Got thrown out there by a fan, I guess. A-Rod, you saw him raise his arm up, but it was very late. And home plate umpire Tim Welke just didn't give it to him. And I think correctly so. Pitcher in a windup. Rodriguez 0-1 count. And Norris's pitch to him will be outside for a ball.
A good slider right there. You know, Bud's had some problems even in spring training. Fastball command hasn't been there. The slider has kind of been backing up on him. He is a power pitcher. He needs the fastball location, and he can work the slider off the fastball. We've seen him at his best when he's been able to locate the heater in very effectively. Not afraid to go in hard off the plate at all. But this year, command not there. Hasn't been able to pitch in and out effectively. Of course, the slider hasn't played up as well either.
3 for 6 against Norris for A-Rod with 2 home runs. 1-2 delivery on the way. Just counting here, if you look, if I'm right, the last 20 hitters in this ball game combined have not reached base. The Yankees' last runner was A-Rod, who hit the home run in the 5th inning. Since then, 8 in a row have been retired. The Orioles' last 12 have been retired. That'll be off the fist to short. Hardy, plenty of time. 1 away. Little Twitter chatter with Bud Norris on the mound. Sources: Orioles trying to trade Bud Norris, potential free agent, currently working out a bullpen, still owed nearly $4 million with a 6.82 ERA from Ken Rosenthal. I don't think that would come as a surprise to Oriole fans.
No, I don't either. But I think Bud Norris still has great value. I mean, you saw right there how effective that inside fastball can be. Still has great velocity, 96 miles an hour. He can get on that. He can certainly, if the Orioles can't get rid of him, help the Orioles, because, you know, having big power arms like that, what this game's all about right now. And Bud Norris had a lot of success with this team last year.
Teixeira will take the pitch down low for a ball. Teixeira against Norris is 4 for 15 with a home run. His home run came in the 1st inning, a 2 RBI shot, his 24th of the year. He is 1 for 3 in the ball game. 1 ball, 1 strike count with a shift on against him. And Teixeira drives it to center. He got all of it. Adam Jones going back and off the wall, halfway up. He'll go into second base with a double. And didn't miss a home run by much. Came off that plexiglass in front of the Yankee bullpen.
That's all he does is hit doubles and home runs. Over half of his hits, especially here at Yankee Stadium, over 60% of his hits are extra base hits. And here he gets behind the fastball. That's how you backleg it. Big strong kid like that. And that fastball was supposed to be inside. And it leaked back over the heart of the plate.
So the Yankees a chance to add a potentially all-important run here in the 8th inning as they are ahead by 2. Runner at second base. McCann a single his first time up, 1 for 3 in the ball game. Ryan will take the pitch for a strike. Yankees get their 7th hit. Orioles 3. And Andrew Miller, the left-hander, in the bullpen. I was talking with Joe Girardi. He's not used Miller in 2 consecutive games since coming off the DL. He hasn't pitched that much. That'll go to third. Out recorded. Teixeira back to the bag. Manny Machado right where he needed to be. Aerial coverage provided by DirecTV. Some great shots from on high in this game. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DIRECT-TV. As the night settles in over the ballpark, and a beautiful sight provided from the blimp. So 2 away. Chris Young, first at bat, came on defensively in right field for Beltran. He'll get down to third and foul that one off. 2 down, runner at second base.
Brought in for defense, doing some serious damage off left-handed pitching. Not done so much success off the righties, but brought into this game late with the Yankees lead to help stop runs from crossing the plate.
0-1 count. Teixeira off second base. Young will take the pitch down low for a ball. Yankees 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position in the ball game, and Norris trying to keep that runner from crossing the plate. One ball, 1 strike count. Infield shifted around, playing him to pull. Young will go after it, hit it the other way, and back into the seats. For Young this year, the distinction Mike was talking about, 177 off right-handers, 371 off left-handers. That'll get you a platoon job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a couple hits off Wei and Chen in yesterday's ball game.
1 ball, 2 strike count. And he'll take the pitch away for a ball. Count goes 2-2. The Orioles looking to get to the 9th with just the 2-run disadvantage. Jones, Wieters, and Davis are going to be due up. So they've got some power to share. Potentially big 5th run out there. Set up outside. 2-2 delivery came in and fouled off. Check swing. 43,887. 43,887. The announced attendance here at Yankee Stadium tonight.
It seemed like city of New York has just kind of been feeling this team out, wondering what they're all about. Are they real? Well, a couple good crowds here, I think. Everybody's starting to believe.
Good job by Norris. He leaves that runner out there. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. The Orioles, 9th inning, down by 2. Book your low fare now at Southwest.com. And by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Here at Yankee Stadium, a 4-2 lead for the Yankees, trying to make it 2 in a row against the Orioles. And the closer is on indeed. First time back-to-back appearances since coming off the DL.
Andrew Miller, take a look at his pitch arsenal. 2-pitch pitcher, dominant pitches. Fastball 48% of the time, mid-90s. Slinger, he's a big kid, 6'7". So very tough to pick up the action, crossbody delivery, and then the hard slider as well. 21 saves in his 21 opportunities, 51 punch-outs, and 32 1/3 innings of work. It's the 139 earned run average, and there you go. The opponent batting average just at .097. Righties 86, and the lefties 150.
So the Orioles will try and get it done with Adam Jones leading it off. Lined into a double play. He is grounded out and struck out. Miller is 4 for 4 in save chances against the Orioles this year.
So that was a pretty nasty slider right there from Andrew Miller. 85 miles an hour across his body. Really tough to pick up.
0-1 is going to go to short. The Orioles need up. The Orioles have not had a hit off Miller this season. He's now worked 5 innings. He's walked 1 and struck out 7. With 21 consecutive saves Mike was talking about, there have only been 3 other pitchers in the last 20 years who have had 21 consecutive saves. LaTroy Hawkins with the Twins from 2000-2001. Brad Lidge with the Phillies from 08 to 09. He had 44 consecutive. And Houston Street with the Padres, who had 23 consecutive in 2012. So Miller's going for his 22nd. He got the save in the ball game last night. 0 for 3 by Wieters. That will take it for a strike.
And it hasn't just happened for Andrew Miller. Andrew Miller was a top pick for the Tigers, and he was a starting pitcher. To the Marlins, starting pitcher, even the Red Sox, but they decided to change him to the bullpen. So he started to find his form, but still had erratic command with all of his pitches. But he was pretty useful in middle relief role. Well, he started to find his niche and command his pitches much better. Last year became a dominant setup man. The Orioles picked him up, helped him get to the postseason.
Got him.
And the Yankees said, hey, we could close in this league. And he has become a dominant closer here in the big fastball on the inside corner at 96 miles an hour to get Matt Wieters.
Matt is now 0 for 10 against Andrew Miller. 2 down, 9th inning. And the Orioles down to their final out to work with here. Chris Davis has an 0 for 3 in the ball game. He is 0 for 8 in his career against Miller. Puts it in the air to right field. It is deep, way back of the wall. And goodbye, home run. And the Orioles close to within 1. Bottom of the 9th inning. Chris Davis with a home run to make it a 4-3 ball game.
Well, Chris Davis has been raking the lefties this year. Andrew Miller is not your typical left-handed hitter. We saw, though, the batting average a little bit higher than the righties, just at a 150 clip. But Chris Davis able to hit his 20th home run and get the Orioles 1 run closer here with only 1 out to go in the game.
And Jonathan Scope, with power of his own, takes a strike.
Chris Davis says to himself, if I see this slider, if it's starting at me, I am going to get the bat head through the zone. He pulls the trigger and catches it out front. Nice solo home run.
14 in a row had been retired prior to that home run. Hope you'll join us again tomorrow. We'll wrap up this series of Aldo Jimenez on the mound against Masahiro Tanaka. Coverage on MASN 1230 O's Extra, presented by Jeep. Game coverage at 1. All the access you need right here on MASN. Schoop 0 for 2 against Miller. Yankee fans up. 9th inning, 2 down, another 1-run game. And that's the way it's going to end. Schoop goes down swinging. Nova gets the win, 2-3. Goslin will take the loss. He is 1-2. 22 consecutive saves for Miller, and the 7th consecutive 1-run loss for the Orioles. When they've had 1-run games, the last 7 of them have gone in the L column. Yankees win it 4-3.